Okay, I'm David Krapf, Editor-in-Chief of WorkBoat magazine in New Orleans, based in New Orleans, and we're wrapping up here at the WorkBoat Regional Summit in Houston, Texas. And this is the first OSV Design and Technology Summit, and it was an interesting day. And with me is Richard Sanchez, who's the Senior Marine Specialist at IHS Petrodata Marine Base. He's based here in Houston. And Richard was on our What's in Store for the OSV Market session, which along with Alan Brooks. So I have three questions. I have three quick questions for you, Richard. The first one is, what is the outlook for the OSV market?
I think in general we're looking at a very positive outlook in the near term. I can say for the deep water we're probably going to have a very good next full year. Around the second quarter of 2015 is where we're really looking at an inflection point where we might start to see the new builds entering the market start to overtake the demand in the form of the drill ships that have been arriving.
Now, and secondly, how about oversupply concerns? I know some of the operators have that. So what is your feeling on oversupply, both in the near term and I guess through 2016?
Well, oversupply is really a relative term depending on where in the market it is, you're positioned. If you're one of the operators who are out there drilling, then what you really would like to see is plenty of competition with competitive rates and lots of choice in vessels. But if you're on the vessel side or the shipbuilders, then really you're hoping for a tighter market with really strong demand. So what the real concern is that the vessel owners might be building too many of these really large supply vessels, and that they might essentially create too much an oversupply in the market, which would have a very negative impact on rates. I believe that it seems very likely that a lot of the excess tonnage that might be coming out of the U.S. shipyards over the next 2-3 years is likely to find work in places like Mexico, Brazil, and West Africa.
And finally, what did you think of the overall summit here today? The first panel was on LNG, the one you were on, of course, and then we wrapped up design trends. So what did you think about the whole experience in the panels?
I thought today's conference went really well. It was a really nice mix in the audience of people from throughout the industry. It was very well focused on the offshore supply vessel industry specifically. I really like having that kind of concentration of people here in the audience. I thought the speakers were very interesting. It seemed like new technologies, fuel efficiencies, specifically the LNG, are one of the really sort of hot topics right now. I thought it was really interesting the way some of our naval designers were talking about fuel efficiencies and how fuel efficiency is really much more complicated than a lot of people would like to sort of simplify it. It really depends on where the vessel is going to be operating, how it's designed for. So to have match fuel efficiency with the actual end user seems to be a much more complicated formula than simply getting the maximum out of every drop of fuel.
Thanks a lot, Richard.
Thank you.
And we'll hopefully see you next year.